All right, lads, how's it going? I'm here with Ciaran McDonald, aka Bearface, and Brockhampton have just done their second night at the Shrine Auditorium. How did that feel?
It was good. It was amazing. That show in particular was really good. It was good to have like the fucking confetti. Can I swear?
Yeah. Yeah. You can say fuck as much as you want.
All right, good. It's good to do like the fucking confetti cannons were like amazing because we had them for the first time in Terminal 5, like the last show. So it was good to have them like again. It's such a like great ending.
Well, let's just go from the very beginning, right? Ciaran, you're from Northern Ireland. Thanks so much.
Easy. Great guy.
Thank you so much, Christian.
From a good place. Yeah, see you.
Thanks, guys. Ciaran, tracing back, like, how did you actually get your start in music? Like, you're from, first of all, what area of Northern Ireland are you from, for people who don't know?
Belfast.
You're from Belfast,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
To clarify, I was born in England and then I moved to Belfast when I was like 10 years old or something. So I spent most of my life and like grew up in Belfast for the most part.
not so bad. So, like, when you moved over to Belfast, were you already doing music that young?
No. I started playing guitar when I was like 12 or 13. When I was a fucking lag in college, actually, funnily enough.
Lag in college, shout out.
Actually don't know. Not shout out to lag in college. But yeah. So I started when I was like 12, and then we're just playing guitar in like shitty little bands when I was like 14, 15. Or like 15 was when I was like starting playing in bands and stuff, and then like playing shows in like the local area, like fucking like Down Art Center, like
Madness to hear you say that.
Down Art Center. Where else? Lavery's. Where else do we play? Played some absolute shite venues. Like, fuck. Where else do we play?
It's really weird to hear you say Lavery's, because right now that's like, so like Colin Geddes has opened up Lavery's Comedy Club, which at the minute is probably the biggest comedy club in Northern Ireland, I'd say. And it's the first and last Wednesday of every month, and it's just completely rammed with like, and it all focuses on local talent.
That's amazing. It's so good to hear that, because like when I was like doing music around that time, it was they were like closing a lot of venues, like Auntie Annie's and shit, like that got closed. That was like nothing for a while. I think it's like reopened as some other.
They have, yeah. There's one in Oma as well.
Really?
They're like all over.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's crazy to hear you say these venues.
But yeah, because like there was like a little kind of a scene kind of buzzing around with like local bands for a while, but then it all kind of like it kind of got, I don't know, it kind of burns out because the scene is so small, and then like venues would close down, and then like the liquor, like the licensing laws like for alcohol and shit were like so early. So then, like, I don't know, a lot of like, because Auntie Annie's used to do some like really kind of like cool like nights, like DJs and like bands and shit would play, and then it just kind of like got deaded, like. But it's always good to hear like shit like local kind of talent is like reemerging and shit, and then like people are putting like an emphasis on kind of cultivating that. So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, even I know like the music scene as well, Northern Ireland as well. Like, you got bands like And So I Watch You From Afar, and the Bonnevilles that are just like killing it at the minute, and like kind of the DIY attitude, but also kind of staying kind of within Northern Ireland and then touring elsewhere around the world. What's your thoughts? This is a question I wanted to bring up to you, specifically for people listening in Northern Ireland. There's been a lot of talk recently on like podcasts and kind of radio stations as well about the Northern Irish attitude in terms of like people who are in the creative industry and kind of difficulties that they face. Some people say that there's a lack of a support system. Some people say that, you know, they kind of feel outed almost when they're very open about where they want to do in terms of entertainment industry. Did you ever kind of face anything like that in maybe your initial days, or maybe even more recently? Did you ever have to kind of deal with any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, do you mean like, can you give me like an example, perhaps?
So like people say that, like, you know, maybe Northern Ireland, they don't like to support their own sometimes.
Okay, yeah. No, there would definitely be like not every a lot of bands weren't at the time when I was like playing and shit. Bands weren't that like supportive of each other, and like say like one band in particular would be like doing well, or like go over to England. If you go over to England, that's like seen as like like you're no one like gives a fuck about you. Like if you're going over to England to like try and like I don't know.
But why is that? Why do you think that
I don't know
is?
what it is. I feel it's a lot of like I feel like it's just like a small town mentality because I've had like friends here in America who like say the same shit about where they're from, like hometown. Like whenever someone there kind of like starts like getting any sort of like buzz like outside of the state, people kind of like I don't know get like resentful towards it. So I really don't know why it is. I think it's just like a small town thing, really. Like
So you're in Northern Ireland and you're playing in these bands and you're doing local shows. What then was the shift that brought you to America?
So yeah, I like stopped playing in bands when I was like 16 or something, and then I went to uni in Leeds for a year.
Uni is college for Americans listening.
But when I was doing like, I went there to do music production because I was recording myself on like my laptop and stuff, and like writing shit with guitar and stuff. But then I was like starting to kind of experiment with like electronic music and stuff like that. So I went over to Leeds to do music production there, but I like fucking hated it. So
What did you not like about it?
I just cause I would like learn how to use Logic, so I'd like taught myself. Hello, there's Matt and Tavia. See you later. But so I taught myself how to use Logic. So when you like teach yourself, like especially from like YouTube and shit, you kind
Is
of
that how you taught yourself? You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like looked it up yourself? And shit
yeah
like
yeah.
that?
I would just if I got like I would like try working it out myself, and then if I got stuck on anything, I'll just fucking like Google it or like look it up on YouTube. But so you kind of learn things in like a weird way because you taught yourself. Like so when I was there was like a course in Logic, and then they're like, okay, you have to do it this way, and I could achieve the end goal of the task just in a weird way, and then they would be like, no, you're doing it wrong. But I'm like, but I can still do it. And it was just like really frustrating having to go all the way back to the basics or something I knew how to do. And then like I don't know, people in my class weren't into the same thing, like so I didn't really like click with anyone. And I just like it's I feel like school like isn't a good environment for like being creative. Well, like especially music, cause like who the fuck do you know? Like what famous musician has like a degree in like music? Like do you know what I mean? I'm sure there's examples, but like for the most part, like do you know what I mean? Like you don't need it. It's not necessary. Like
No, totally. I think
So-
like with comedy as well. Like there's the thing is like there's all these schools in LA that teach stand up, but like none of the you never hear any of the greats on podcasts saying like I went to this course at this place and whatever. It's like it's just something you gotta be obsessed with, you know.
it's all about like life experience. Like that's like all the funniest people have like crazy lives, or like you know what I mean, or just like really observant and shit. And it's the same with music. Like the best songwriters are just like observant of like and go out of their way to experience life. So
Yeah.
you learn shit through that way better than someone else teaching you. Like
So you're not enjoying yourself at uni. Did you stick it out or did you kind of go fuck this, I'm out?
yeah, no, I dropped out after a year, and then I went back to Belfast and was like, okay, so I've dropped out. What the fuck am I gonna do now? So I had these songs I've been working on for the past year while I was at university. So I was like, oh fuck it, like let me put them on. Well, I'd like shown them to friends and stuff, and it was just like beats, like instrumental shit, like sampling stuff. And I like shown them to friends and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, it's like it's really good. But you never know when it's your mates, cause like they
Yeah.
could just be like fucking blowing smoke up your arse. So I was like, all right, let me put it on the internet and like, cause like people will rip it to shreds if it's shite. So I'll put it on the internet and then I'll see what it was. And then like people are like, oh, like people are like enjoying it, and it was getting shared about. And then I put it on this website called Bandcamp, which is like people like pay what they want, which is like really cool. So I made a bit of money off that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to New York for 3 months, cause I was getting like emails for like certain labels and stuff, which at the time was like, oh my god, this is insane. But now looking back, it was just like for bullshit, like because labels will just like they'll want to meet you and be like, oh hey, so what are you doing? I'm like, oh not much. I'm like, okay cool, see you later, and it's just like nothing.
I think
But
that's really important.
yeah.
Like, there's like I live with a lot of like musicians and stuff, and
Mm.
that is coming from your perspective very interesting because
Mhm.
you're someone who's dealt with labels and now you're in the position that you are.
Mhm.
But you know, musicians, they're just so keen that someone's taking
Yeah.
interest
Oh
that
no,
they
for
can
sure.
often like cut into deals that aren't that good at
Yeah.
all, or
Oh
like
yeah.
it's not about their music at the end of the day. It's just about kind of
Sure.
cutting a quick paycheck.
Yeah, like yeah. I think it's very important to like know your worth and realize that like no matter how like dire your situation is, like just wait it out till like you're in the position that you're a commodity rather than like want like trying to get out of the situation you're in. Like wait, I don't know, just like like believe in what you're doing, like and just like fully like commit to it. Cause I know people who've like kind of been accepted like really shitty deals to get out of like situations that they're in, and yeah, for the long term it's like it's not the way to go. Like you always got to think of the long term, like think of like the legacy, like. But what was the question?
So you're in New York and
Oh
you're on
yeah,
the
yeah,
3 month
yeah,
visa.
yeah, yeah. You get the ESTA. So I went there for like 3 months, and then I was like meeting a bunch of people off the internet, and it's actually where I met Romil. I met Romil in a studio because some guy who we both had a mutual friend with, like on Twitter, was like, "Oh yeah, come to the studio." So I came, and yeah, it was like really weird. It was the weirdest studio session ever. But Romil was there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I like that remix you did of this like ASAP Rocky song." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's really cool." And he was like, "Oh, I did a remix of it too." And he showed me, and I was like, "Oh, that's fire! Like the drums are really good." And he was like, "Oh, let me send you them." So he sent me the drum, and then we just like were talking back and forth ever since then. And then I went out to Texas for a South by Southwest, and that's where I met like everyone for like the first time in person. Cause I've been talking to like Ian and stuff like on Facebook. We're in like a little Facebook group chat thing. But that was where I like met everyone for the first time. I was like, oh shit, okay, like everyone's like so cool, and we all just kind of like clicked, which is like the weirdest thing ever. Like
It is really weird because
it's the
there's
most
so
different.
many of you, and
Yeah.
yet, and the way that most of them met through a
Everyone,
Kanye fan forum.
yeah, like a lot of people met through KTT. A couple people like knew each other from school, like from their like local area and shit. But for the most part, everyone kind of like met on the internet, which is like.
So you guys have known each other like for how many years now?
Well, I've known everyone since 2013. Some people have known each other since like 2011, maybe 22. Some people have known each other from like even way back. But yeah, for the most part, around a while. Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild seeing like how you all met so like randomly, and then the chemistry on stage is like, you know, it's like you have been mates since forever. You know, it's wild to see. So you all meet up, and then when does the move to the famous house in South Central begin?
So that happened after, because everyone lived in San Marcos for a while, and I would go for like 3 months and leave, then go back for 3 months and leave, and was doing that for like 3 years or something. And then last year I finally got my visa. But yes, we were doing that for a while, like living in San Marcos, and then we're like, fuck it, let's go to LA, like let's just get the fuck out of Texas. There's nothing here, because we went on like a trip to LA, like we all drove there from Texas for like a week, and we're like, this is amazing, like blah, blah, blah.
So originally you all were in Texas. You
Yeah.
all met up, and you all decided to form the group.
Mm-hmm.
Was the group even called Brockhampton at this stage?
Yeah, it was.
Where does that name come from?
That's the street Ian grew up in Corpus Christi, in Texas.
So you take a trip to LA.
Mhm.
Was it because you guys were thinking of making the move, or did you just want to go on like a vacation road trip kind of thing, or were you seeing a concert? What was the purpose of that trip?
It was like we had like some like meetings there and shit, and like we were gonna like meet up with some people who we like knew from the internet, so we're gonna like just like hang out with them. And yeah, it was mainly just like for like a couple of meetings and shit, but then we just kind of like yeah, we're kind of like, no, we gotta like come here. Like it seemed like everyone was there, like which was really crazy. Like so we're like, fuck, we gotta come here to be like, I don't know, to just to take that next step really. So we like drove all the way from Texas to LA and like moved there like a few months after that, and the only place we could afford was like the house in South Central.
What?
Like, which at the time we were like, oh no, this is fine, like, you know, it's all we can afford. So bye. See you. He's from Belfast.
It was an amazing show, guys.
He said amazing show.
Yeah.
See ya.
It's amazing. I love how you had to translate there too.
I
It's
know,
like,
he's like,
he said amazing show.
Amazing show.
So yeah, you're in this house in South Central. How many of you guys are in this house?
It would fluctuate between like 10 to 13. I think like 14 at its peak. But yeah, it would fluctuate between that. But like every room was a bedroom, and there was only one, two, three. There was only four. No, there was 5 actual bedrooms. And then but people would sleep in the living room. You'd have like multiple people in every room. It was like a fucking shit show, like absolute shit show. Like you'd like people would be falling asleep in the living room, like, and you'd wake up to like fucking Merlin doing yoga next to your head. Like,
Wait, hang on. What ways are you doing yoga that it's waking you up?
you don't want to. You don't even want to go into it.
He doesn't seem like a guy that does yoga at all.
He does. William has a crazy sleep schedule. He'll wake up at like 9 a.m. every day. He does yoga. He goes and rides his bike for a little bit, and then he reads, and then he disappears off, and does whatever he does.
I don't associate any of those activities with him from observing him.
I know, he is a question mark.
So,
Absolute question mark.
in terms of like and being in there, what was it like in terms of like? It's such a different living environment, right? Like me and Josh, my camera guy here, like we live in a house with 40 people, right? And that I'm sure must have been somewhat inspired by your guys' story as well. And it's like actors, musicians, comedians. Now, I know for a fact that the environment that you guys were in must have been, you woke up, you worked on music, and then it was like you literally like went to bed. Is that how like it was just like clockwork every single day?
Pretty much, yeah. And like every room, something would be happening in like every room. Like HK and Ian could be working on shit in his room, and then like Romeo was working on beats in his room, and then like Russell was like recording his. Like people were writing everywhere. Like so something was always there was always something to be doing, like something to be involved in. Even when Ian was working on American Boyfriend, like everyone was working on their own like solo projects at the same time, as well as like working on shit with him. So yeah, like shit was always being made.
And then the first kind of like complete like tape released was All American Trash.
Yeah. Oh, that was released. We finished that the day we left Texas to move to LA, and we put it out on the same day.
So the South Central house is when you moved there, it was the start of Saturation series for you guys.
When we moved to LA?
Yeah, when you moved to South Central in LA, yeah.
No, so when we moved to South Central, that was like when Ian was starting on his like solo project, and then after that was our after that was finished and that was done, then people were still like working on their like solo things a bit, and then just came to the decision like, let's put out like another, like, it was originally just gonna be a mixtape, like let's just make another mixtape. And then when it was like the finished thing, we're like, no, fuck this, like this sounds like an album, like let's just call it an album, let's put out our first like actual album. And yeah, that was how that happened.